We have been bombarded by comments about our intros and how much you guys love them. We love them too. We've even been asked if we could put them all into one long video just so you have hours of entertainment. And it would be super cool. But the truth of the matter is that we don't just make entertainment for the sake of entertainment. There is a deep purpose behind it, which ties directly to our mission to inform and inspire capable men to build strong families and resilient communities. The truth is, we've grown a lot since we first started, and fast, but it's our guiding principles that allowed us to achieve that. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and discuss how and why we do what we do, with the hopes that you can take those principles, apply them to your own life and profession, and become more successful. And we also want to give our fellow and future Second Amendment content creators who we love some ideas on how to broaden their success and reach and help more people become passionate about the Second Amendment and preparedness. To reach people no one else is reaching, you have to do things no one else is doing. Now, I'm not the one that came up with that line, but basically what it means is we don't make cookie cutter content, and we have to find a new way to tell an old story. And humor is the most common language. Anytime you talk to a stranger, there's a communication barrier. People are reserved, and when it comes to YouTube, that just means they're gonna click away. So how do we break down this barrier and establish trust and immediately find a common language? Well, it's with humor. And quite frankly, we like to talk to people and we like to communicate and be friends with people who have a good and sometimes dark sense of humor. Just take a look at world-class comedians. Many of them have very conservative values, and they sneak those values into comedy shows with jokes and absurdity that everyone can laugh at. And in that way, they are actually leading the culture and inceptioning scores of people with conservative values. People who would otherwise completely disregard any sort of political speech or rhetoric because it too brazenly shocks their system and their worldview. Now, humor is actually one of the hardest things to pull off, believe it or not. It was surprising to me when I first started trying to do it because you have to nail that comedic timing, otherwise it's just not good. You can tell they're faking it, right? But the point here is that humor brings joy, and every human responds to joy because it's wired into us. Another way that you can build trust with an audience or gather their attention is with sick montages that just get people fired up, or movie and TV show references that everyone understands. A great example of this is our CQB Everyone Should Know video with Drew Estel. These intros that we create, behind the scenes we call them creative hooks, because they're creative ways to hook people's attention and get them wanting to listen to the rest of what we have to say. And in that particular video, we actually did all three of those things I just mentioned. Number one, we had a sick montage of us doing cool things and cool kit, but we integrated the humor of the absurdity of the things that we were doing, from clipping the wire that wasn't attached to anything, on top of the fact that you would never clip a wire like that and there would always be sparks and you would have a bad time, to us clearing this house in like a Rainbow Six Siege style with us falling down. And there's some reality to that. When people are doing stuff like this, people fall, like it happens. And then on top of that, with Josh's talking bit, he introduced a common line from Django Unchained talking about, "This is a raid."
We all think the raid was a good idea, but next time we do it right, and then we come back and we go full regalian.
Yeah. So we combined all of these things to draw in the most amount of people, where everyone had something to look at, laugh at, remember about a movie scene, and that's like it kind of brought us all together and set us all up to hear what a subject matter expert had to say. Another way that you can do this is with a Mr. Beast style intro, which is basically just telling the audience, what you're going to be doing and how much they're going to love it. But I'm going to kick over to Nick, because that was actually Nick's idea that he brought to the table in our creative meetings. And so let's hop over to Nick's studio, where he can walk you through how we do that and what it looked like. And it's actually pretty cool.
So the Mr. Beast style or effect, it's to deliver like a shock value with statistics or something so crazy that you just have to watch it, right? So when you're putting that together, that it helps with the pacing. It keeps people engaged and entertained. 2 to 3, max 5 seconds. A new clip's coming in, a new visual's coming in, something to keep everybody engaged. It's very important, with these now, social media, everything just scroll, 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 scroll. That's all we want. We want stimulation constantly. So with our water video, I already knew going into that video, it was going to be very difficult to keep it engaging and make it entertaining and make it digestible for you guys to be able to watch it, stay engaged, and also get the information across in a decent manner. A lot of that has to do with a lot of stock footage that you guys may or may not caught in that video. There was a lot of it. The pacing with the music, which I know a lot of you sometimes hate the music choices and say that it's annoying. Quite frankly, it's got to be done. I personally cannot stand editing a video and it's 15 minutes and there's no music. I zone out. There's nothing going on, nothing keeping the pacing up. But that's, again, to keep the fun going, to keep the humor, to keep people who may not necessarily always want to watch super educational, like really strategic content, but it gives that break of, oh, this is fun. I like these guys. And I know I see a lot of you guys comment like, oh, I can't wait for the intro, or these intros are the best. And we appreciate that, but we do it for you guys and also for us. Like, if all we did was videos nonstop that didn't have good creative intros and that were just constant information, it's boring. It is so boring and it drains me creatively. And also, you know, Drew and Josh also, they enjoy having fun. We enjoy having fun. We're also human beings. So yeah, at the end of the day, creative intros take a lot of work. So it's something that we do to kind of knock the edge off of the hard work and the grind of making these videos for you guys. So with all that being said, let's kick it back over to Drew and see you guys later.
How do YouTube channels get paid? Well, for a lot of us, sometimes we just create content for free. Like, we would do this for free if we had to. It wouldn't be a big deal, but why not monetize and why not pay ourselves for our hard work and all the tens of thousands of dollars of equipment and payroll and all that stuff of our employees? Of course, you're gonna wanna monetize it somehow. So how do you do that? Well, if you have pre-existing relationships with companies, you can work out a deal with them, or you can use an ad agency, which is what Hulu, Disney Plus, all of these channels, all these platforms do, is they have an ad agency bring them ads and they get their pick and choice over the litter of who they want to support. But the important thing is always do an ad for a product that you use or a person that you believe in. That's gonna be your real kicker. And I don't know why Josh hasn't come in yet.
I'm sorry. Oop, that's my line. Here, get out of the way.
Okay.
All right, so here's the thing. When you are actually talking about a brand, if you are genuinely trying to sell a product or sell a service to your audience, morally, you should have a good, sound understanding of what that company is doing and what it is that they're actually offering to your audience. So for example, the Sonoran Desert Institute, I have been a gunsmith / technically an armorer for many years, and I found that passion and that joy, and I'm very excited to see that SDI is doing that for other companies as well. So you have to find a way to connect yourself to that brand and then to your audience. But there's one more level. There are a couple individuals and channels that have done a phenomenal job at connecting themselves then to their sponsors. Perfect example would be Garantham, or more realistically, Charlie.
Sweaty Dads Incorporated. Soft Diplomatic Invasion. Super dumb intros.
Sonoran Desert Institute. Now you have connected a brand to your audience by building something memorable. It's an incredible way to actually start to take care of your subscribers and your sponsors all at the same time. Then that also takes us to a brand that we know and love that we've also been customers of for years and years before they actually became a sponsor of ours. So take Steel Industries. If we were to just plug them in as a sponsor and never actually have experience, we may be able to sit here and say, they sell night vision and have nods, but we don't actually have any personal experiences to be able to connect our own life then to our audience because they're a sponsor. Because we have interacted with our customer service team, both in person and sending stuff back, we have been able to then report on our own experiences and tell you genuinely, yes, we love what they do and here's why. Then that brings us to another level, which is maybe branch out from what your audience expects. If we were to just sit here and talk about nods and guns and body armor all day long, it doesn't start to then take care of your audience. So My Patriot Supply is another company that we have been customers of for years and years. Yes, they did send product to us after they became a sponsor of ours, but if we then didn't go taste their pancakes and we just told you they taste phenomenal, when in reality, they're good, especially if you're just out camping, but it's not the same as making your own pancakes at home. Be honest and genuine about the products that the sponsors are then bringing to your audience, and everyone is going to appreciate it more. So just like with My Patriot Supply, it really helps to, number one, believe in the brand. We do believe in My Patriot Supply. Number two, does that brand align with your core values? Check that box. Do you have personal experiences with them? We do, and we very much appreciate what it is that they have to offer. It also helps if you're able to then offer discounts or anything, so on and so forth. We do have some discounts, links in the description for this one as well as the other brands. And then as you wrap it all up, tell a story, keep your audience interested, and connect it to your own platform, because ultimately that's what your audience is here for. Back to Drew.
It is okay to have fun. The fact of the matter is, if you're not having fun, neither is the audience, and learning is often best done when fun is involved. I've seen so many people complain about how YouTube hates us and they're cracking down on our content and demonetizing us. The truth of the matter is that applies to anyone in the GunTuber space. And what I've found to be true about our content is when we don't nail the fun component of it, 9 times out of 10, that's why the video doesn't do well. That's why the content doesn't reach as many people as it could or should. It's not a YouTube problem. It's a content creation problem on the side of us or you as the creator.
Your videos suck. You think your videos are good, but they suck. When you make good content, you'll blow up. It's not the algorithm. It's not anything. It's just like me and most people who are in my position, you just make terrible videos. And that's okay, because you got to make a bunch of videos and improve over time to be great.
Now, just think about how the American education system has sucked the life and the joy and the fun out of learning. It's institutionalized learning to the point of it being a prison almost, and that's why most kids hate it, and that's why they don't learn as well or as fast as they could. Yet when they're properly homeschooled, it gives them a freedom that allows for organic and fun and experiential learning, which is the best kind of learning. Now, adults, we have the option to turn off any content that doesn't catch our attention or bring us joy. Kids are stuck in a box for 8 hours a day and have no choice. They have to learn in this box, in the super serious box, and they don't have an option. This is why we feel like if we don't nail the fun, we've actually done a disservice to you. We have an obligation to make content as good as it possibly can be and meet you where you're at. And when you're on YouTube, 9 times out of 10, you're on there looking for some sort of entertainment. Yes, you would also like to learn through the process, but if we just come right out of the gates and just start beating you with information, it doesn't always work well. It may work well for a lot of you, but we're missing out on a lot of people who are there for less serious reasons, but we can pull them into something a little bit more complicated, a little bit more nuanced if we do our due diligence in helping them to have fun off the get-go. Now, with that being said, there's actually a lot of YouTube comment that does not follow this format. And that's one thing you should take note of here, is that this is not a universal, the things we're talking about here are not always universally true. We break rules all the time. We break our own rules in content creation all the time if the project requires it. And so just because you hear us saying stuff and giving you advice or suggestions, it's not always 100% good to go, it's gonna work. Feel free to experiment and try your own things. Here's 2 examples of YouTube channels that do something radically different and teach in a radically different way. Number 1, it's DIY channels. So for example, anytime I'm looking up something, I'm trying to figure out how to fix something on my car, I don't want to click on a video that has some like funny skit at the beginning of it. I don't want that. I just want a video that says step 1, 2, 3, 4, here's what you do. So like I go to the Rock Auto YouTube channel all the time. Nothing funny, no fluff, no entertainment value whatsoever. It just tells me what to do and I love it and it's perfect. Another example is Pseudo Actual. Now this guy makes content that I absolutely love. It's not humorous, it's not super entertaining. It is entertaining in its own way. There's not a ton of production value. There's nothing crazy about it, but you get to follow him on this journey as he completes these physical and tactical challenges, if you want to call them that. And because of the way that he structures it, it's just really fun to watch, and I learn things and I see things in that like I need to get better at, and it inspires me to go out and do those same things. So there's different styles of fun and there's different ways to learn. And that's kind of the point, is that whatever your style is, get really, really good at it. But fun is a big portion of it. If you're still trying to figure out how to make videos fun so that people learn better and learn more, just remember this: create content for yourself. Do things for yourself. If you like what you have created, then other people are generally going to like it too. And this is true in all areas of life. You wouldn't drop your car off at a body shop and you don't want whichever mechanic is working on it to just do a half-hearted job on it, right? You want him to treat your vehicle like it's his own. And that's true for your own content or whatever it is that you do in life or whatever profession it is. You do the work as if it's your own, as if your name is attached to it. And when you do that, you end up with an excellent product. And people will like it, people will gravitate towards it, and people will want more of it. Build over break. This is a core tenet of everything that we do here at Dirty Civilian, because the fact of the matter is it's way easier to tear stuff down or tear down a system than it is to actually build something to last beyond it. The short way of saying this is positivity is contagious. You could have the greatest message in the world, but if your personality and delivery is off, it just creates a barrier for the audience, and you're basically self-sabotaging and gatekeeping the information that you actually want to get out to the people. This self-righteous, sanctimonious, and pharisaical, hypocritical posturing, it's like blood in the water, and everyone can smell it. You can fool some of the people all the time, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. At some point, people will smell the blood in the water and they'll stop trusting you, and it takes a long time to rebuild that. So always being authentic in your content and your delivery, and having a humble delivery of things, it goes a very, very long way. Now, with the rise of social media, I used to see this all the time. I would see all these young guys, myself included, starting to get kind of popular, if you want to call it that, within the gun world. And I would see a lot of older guys who had a ton of experience and a ton of very valuable information basically become kind of like Scrooges, and they just lashed out at everyone online who was more successful or more popular or just growing faster than they were, or just growing faster than they thought that they should. They were mad that their accomplishments and their knowledge wasn't enough to demand the attention and the respect that they thought that they deserved. This is kind of one of the things that we really, really try and stay away from, and we ego check each other all the time behind the scenes, because the fact of the matter is that when your ego takes a front seat, the mission takes a back seat. And you can kind of see this when someone becomes known for tearing people down or tearing others down more than they are for bringing new value to the table. You know the mission has taken a backseat to the ego. You can make a point or you can make a difference. There's a big difference between those things. You can stand on your soapbox on a YouTube channel and tell people how it should be and how everyone is wrong and how everyone should be different, how the way that you do it is best. Or you can make a difference and maybe make some content that helps people and helps bring some positivity and some positive changes to their life. One thing that I always remember, and I think about this with my kids too, is people will forget what you say, people will forget what you teach them, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that's very true. And if you make people feel good, and if you leave a good lasting impression on them, and if you treat people well, they will come back for more. And that's a big secret to the success of YouTube channels, is how you make people feel. And feelings aren't real, I get that, but that's what keeps them coming back for more. And this is true in your own life, man. If you go out and you just treat people like garbage all the time, or you act unethically, or you treat your employees poorly, they're gonna remember that more than they ever will some bonus or a pizza party that they threw for you, as a thank you for your hard work. They're going to remember how you made them feel, and that's going to leave a much longer lasting impression. They won't want any more of it or you. Excellence demands attention. A man's accomplishments in life are the cumulative effect of his attention to detail. And we take that concept, as a quote, not from me, we take that concept and we apply it to all of our productions and basically everything that we do, from how we shoot something, to the planning of it, to the editing, to the sound design, everything, so that we can create the most excellent possible product or video or content for you, because we know that is what you deserve. You don't deserve any less, and you need a better class of content, right? So we're gonna pop over to Nick. He's gonna show you some of the things, some of the tweaks that we do in the editing room, which take something from like 85% good to 100% great. And the cool part about this is we live in, this is the year 2024. Like, there are some super fancy cameras and we have some fancy equipment here, but the truth of the matter is that iPhones have never been better, and the current iPhone is better than basically anything that was out 10 years ago. And DaVinci Resolve, which is our main editing program, is totally free. And there is no reason why someone can't create excellent content with basically next to nothing and free things. Nick's gonna kind of show you how it's done.
There's a lot that goes into these creative intros. There's a lot of thought process, but what you guys don't usually see is the back end stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the time of day, the angle, as far as how the delivery of the video gets, or the intro gets put together, as well as the actual angle of the shot or each shot. I have learned so much on YouTube over the years that will also going to be in the description too. There's a long playlist of videos I reference nonstop that have helped me still to this day and in the past. Also a bunch of great guys that I've been able to bounce questions off of. So let's jump into an example for the Flux Raider intro. I know you guys love that intro, and it was very, very difficult to shoot. All right, so we're in the project here. This intro was a behemoth, to say the least. So as you can see here, all of this on screen is all sounds I found. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute the music. I'm gonna mute the in-camera audio, and we're gonna watch it through with just the sounds that I added to kind of bring this thing together, to make it flow, to make it seem more realistic, as if these sounds were in the video to begin with. So let's check it out. When you're putting these videos together, don't just slap sounds, and I know a lot of those sound design, I am not a sound guy at all. I do hardly not know what I'm doing. I just try and find things that roughly sound like they should go there. But think outside of the box. Find your music that you think you like, and that song's not always gonna be perfect. Actually, about 90% of the time, I'm chopping the song that we get and trying to move parts of the song around so that it flows with the length that we want, and the pacing and what's going on in the video to make it fit well and flow with the visuals that are going on. So now let's listen to that intro with just the in-camera audio and the music and no sound design stuff. Could it have been posted like that? Absolutely. But go above and beyond. Go the step ahead. Set the bar high. If you saw recently on our RH25 video that we just posted, that whole intro was recorded at like sunset, not nighttime. But it took a lot of work to try and get it to look like nighttime, and a lot of you had no idea, which I guess I did my job well. Again, I am not a professional at this. So with that being said, I actually need to finish editing this video you're watching right now. So I'm gonna kick it back over to Drew to wrap this thing up. See you guys next time.
Before we move on, let's talk also about the power of strong branding. When you look at our channel, you look at all the thumbnails, they all kind of have a cohesive look. It matches our website, matches our social media content, it all matches. And 9 times out of 10, whenever guys slide into the DMs or text me like, hey, why am I not getting any traction? I have tens or hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. Why can I not get any traction on YouTube? And I go to their page and I look at it, I can usually tell immediately like what's wrong. And it's 9 times out of 10, the thumbnails and the titles.
Ideally, it's a title also that, because the titles don't live in a vacuum, right? So it has to lead into the content. So ideally, the title represents content that you would want to watch for 20 minutes. So if it's a 20-minute video and the title is I stepped on a bug, the click-through rate is going to be much lower than if it was like a 5-second video. Like even nuances of the length of the video based against the title will affect whether people want to click it, because sometimes they just don't add up.
Title and thumbnail set expectations. And at the very beginning of the video, to minimize drop-off, you want to assure them that those expectations are being met.
Your thumbnail and your title is it's the world's first look at you. It's essentially like whenever you get dressed in the morning and you go to work, do you look unpresentable? Do you look disgusting? Do you look dirty? Do you look not put together and disorganized? Well, no, you try and square away all of those things so you look like a professional, because that is the professional thing to do. And the same is true when it comes to thumbnails and titles. If you are not creating them in such a way that draws people in and gives you a professional look, well, they're not going to click on your video 9 times out of 10. There are absolutely some exceptions to this rule. They're usually more like legacy YouTube channels who have been around for so long, so they have the critical mass that can pull them through, even though their thumbnails are absolute garbage. But again, applying this to your life, it kind of goes back to making your bed. Get yourself squared away, and this is the world's first impression of you. this is one thing that Nick really harped on early on when we started DC, and I agreed with him, is that we have to have like a uniformity, and like we have to put in a lot of time and effort into our thumbnails and our titles. And we actually make 3 or 4 different versions, and we put them all up for A/B testing. So, you know, you guys may not always see the same thumbnail for the same video, and that's because YouTube is trying to figure out which one is actually connects with the viewer the most, and then it chooses the most popular one. We put so much time and effort into our thumbnails because it's the movie poster for this thing that we have taken time and money to produce. So why would we not put the most beautiful cover on that book or the most beautiful cover on that movie that we can think of? And there's this thing called truth bait. A lot of people make thumbnails that are clickbaity. You never want to do that. Don't put something in a thumbnail that doesn't deliver. I think 99% of the time we deliver. There should always be a little bit of mystery there though. Like what question are you guys going to answer in this video? What are you going to be doing in this video? Be creative and take the time, sometimes more time than it takes to make the production itself, to really fine tune this.
If you click on a video where, you know, of his, where it's like, Tether is a scam, and then at the very beginning he starts talking about literally anything else, then you are like, oh, this is bull. This isn't what I clicked on. But if at the very start of the video you go, Tether is a scam, and I'm gonna teach you why, then it's like, okay, you match the expectations. So at the very beginning, match the expectations, and then you want to exceed them.
Show me a completely smooth operation, and I'll show you someone who's covering mistakes. Real boats rock. Frank Herbert wrote that in, I think, his last Dune novel, and it's very true. We have a creative crucible, if you want to call it that, that we use behind the scenes here at DC to craft the best possible plan for a video and to figure out what is this video actually about and how does it actually help people. And if we can't answer certain questions on this document, and we're going to provide this document to you guys for free to use as a template to make your own content better. And it's also just a good document for anything that you're doing in life, whether you're giving speeches or giving a presentation at work. This thing actually kind of transcends professions, but it helps us figure out what is our angle. What are we really trying to get at? Is this actually helpful? And if we can't figure out how a video is helpful, we don't even do it. We could be planning this thing for weeks and then we just trash it because it's like, you know what? This is not helpful to anyone. It's just not good. We might have fun making it, but it doesn't actually make an impact on anybody's life or can change their direction. So when you open up this document, one of the things that you're going to find is a list of questions. These are questions you have to answer about whatever it is that you're talking about or whatever it is, whatever idea it is that you have. Once you answer those questions, the answers that you write down correspond to where you can place them in a video. Now, you don't have to always use this template, but for people who are trying to figure out what to do, or maybe you have a great idea, you have this phenomenal idea for this thing that you want to do, but you feel it in your core, you have to do this or you have to say this, but you can't figure out how to say it. That's what this is for. Or if it's even worth saying, or who it's going to impact positively and negatively. So we hope you guys get a lot out of that. And if you have any questions about that template, please feel free to reach out. But I will say this. Once you start doing this and once you start becoming more professional in the way that you communicate, and this is basically what this is, a professional communication tool that we've created internally here from doing this for 20 some odd years for different companies and different nonprofits that we've kind of fine-tuned for our own uses. You can change it. Like, we don't always 9 times out of 10, yeah, we do use it 9 times out of 10, but sometimes we break the rules. We break our own rules in order to craft something a little bit weirder or more creative. But by and large, it's going to help you out a lot, and we want to put that out there because we want you guys to be successful. We want other people to create content that's way better than ours. There's nothing that serves us by having like the best YouTube channel ever. Like, no, we don't get any better unless there's other people out there making better content than us and calling us to a higher standard and calling us to a higher or better way of making stuff that's informative and educational and fun. One of the big things that we talk about is how we do want to inspire the next generation of creatives in this space. When we came onto the scene and we grew super fast, people were super surprised. They're like, who are these guys? They must be feds. There's no way that they could grow that fast. And to be honest, I hope that there is a company that kind of rocket ships into relevancy when we're 10 years old and kind of makes us look at it and be like, dang, I wish we would have thought of that, or wow, I wish we would have done something like that. Like, that will make me happy when I see that happen.
Wow,
And every time I see someone else being successful in this space, whether they're already successful or they're kind of a no-name, it fires me up. We love that stuff because at the end of the day, it does a better service and it helps more people beyond those who we are reaching. The creative crucible that we have is so important for our team internally. Like for example, I'm an idea guy. I can come up with a ton of wild, crazy, cool ideas. I have videos in my head that we need to make. I've already seen every frame. I've already heard every sound, and I just need a perfect place to put it, right? Josh, one thing I'm not good at though is just coming up with scripts. Just script, and outlines, right? I can do that, I can do it well, but I'm not great at that. Josh, on the other hand, is great at coming up with scripts. I don't even know what he's working on back there, but it better be another script or an outline. But the cool thing is that while Josh is amazing at creating outlines, I'm really good at then coming in and editing that outline. And between the two of us, and then with Nick's input as well, we're able to fine tune the video, figure out exactly what it should be about, exactly who we're trying to help, and make it excellent. But without a team and without someone to bounce these things off of, you kind of just get a one-sided, one-person kind of half-fledged idea, usually, not all the time. One thing I will note is how hilarious it is that the person that determines whether our content is good or not actually is not on the team at all. It's actually Nick's wife. Whenever we get done with an edit, we actually send it to her and even Josh's wife and mine sometime too, and we have them watch it, something that they have no clue about, they have no interest in it, they don't care about EMPs, they don't care about guns, they don't care about any of this stuff, and they'll watch it. And if the video can hold their attention, and if the video can teach them something, then we're like good to go. But there's definitely been times where we've kicked it over to Nick's wife, and within like 3 minutes, she's like, I'm checked out. We take that feedback, we go back to the drawing board and we figure out, okay, what can we add in? What can we change? What can we shift to make this better for all the viewers of our content?
You basically want to remove every dull moment. You probably want to find the 10 most critical people you know, make them watch the video and just roast it.
Direction before destination. Now, no one can change another person's destination in life, but you can change someone's direction. And we never want to be a final destination for someone's learning journey. Our job here at DC is to light the torch and to point the way. It does a disservice to the audience if their journey ends with us. It's the equivalent of, oh, I went to church, so I must be a good Christian, but then I go out and 6 days out of the week, I treat people like absolute garbage, I gossip, I slander, I bully people around me, and I just act unethically and immorally. Our videos shouldn't be a check mark that someone puts next to a topic or a subject that they wanted to know more about. Like, yep, I watched that video, I'm good to go, I know everything. No. This is one reason why for certain topics we try and bring in SMEs or subject matter experts, even on the subjects that we understand and could probably teach ourselves, or we know the basics of, or we're even advanced in it. We're great at what we do, but what we don't do is teach this, this particular subject for a living or professionally. Now take the CQB Everyone Should Know video. All the stuff that Drew taught in that video, Essel taught in that video, we already knew. And he knew we already knew it, but we placed ourselves in the position of students so that you guys could have an easier time learning alongside of us. And also, it doesn't serve us for us to be the end point of your learning. It doesn't serve us for you guys to think that we are the experts on this particular subject, even if we kind of are, because our job is not to be a full-time expert on that thing. This is why we point to SMEs, because it actually helps them out too, and helps you guys out. The last thing we want is to create a video and then our DMs, our emails are flooded with questions from you guys on this subject, because we don't handle that particular subject full time. It would be much better for you guys and for us and for the SME for us to point you guys to someone who does this professionally and whose entire life revolves around, XYZ subject. We could posture and we could make ourselves look like the authority very, very easily. And we choose not to. We don't, because it's disingenuous, it's dishonest. And so why don't we point the way to someone to whom this subject is their entire world? They've lived it, they've breathed it, and they continue to teach it. It helps everyone, us, them, and you. But most SMEs are not like that. Their whole life and all of their time revolves around learning this subject and practicing this subject and being masters at it, right? So maybe the thing they can do but aren't great at doing is creating inspirational and informative videos or content. So how can we use our skill set, which we are great at, which is creating content like that, and highlight their education and benefit both them and the audience. So if there's one thing to remember is to always point people somewhere, either to further learning, a subject matter expert, a class, another video where they can continue to learn this stuff and see it perhaps a different perspective or even a conflicting perspective. You always want to point people. We call this an action item. And that is something that if you start including that in your content, if you give someone a place to go, it's going to make a big difference. This is true for anything that you do, and even like teaching classes. I've been to plenty of firearms classes where at the end of the day, it's like, okay, cool, you learned these things, bye, right? And then I've been to some where it's like, great, here's your performance on these things. Here's some ways that you can measure performance whenever you go home. And you should be doing your homework and practicing these things on your own. And if you ever sign up for another one of my classes, you better be better then than you are now. Always point people somewhere, give people some homework. The rarest skill in the world is someone who can master a trade and also master impacting other people and communicating with other people. If you can master a trade and positively impact others, it's going to go so well with you throughout your entire life. It's going to strengthen you as an individual, which is in turn going to strengthen your family and everyone around you, which is your community. And I'll just end by saying this. A long time ago in college, I took a class called Jazz Appreciation. It was a stupid class and one of the many reasons why I think college is a waste of time and money for most professions. In my opinion, if you have to take a class to make you appreciate something, it's not worth appreciating in the first place. But while I was in the class, I read a book. It's called Blue Like Jazz by Don Miller. Wasn't a huge fan of the book. But there was some stuff in there that really stuck out to me. Similar to how maybe some of you aren't the hugest fan of this channel, but maybe there's something in there that can stick out to you. And the quote goes something like this: in order to learn to love something, sometimes you have to watch someone else love it first. Sometimes you have to see someone passionate about a subject, have fun with it, show you what they're doing, really enjoy it before you can start to like draw off that and feed off of that and for it to be contagious and draw you in. So get out there, make some incredible content. We're at your disposal as Dirty Civilian. We want to see you guys be successful, and we love the other guys in our space that are creating different content than us and reaching people that we could never reach. To me, it's a huge net win for what this is all about, which is drawing people into the Second Amendment and this self-sufficient lifestyle. That's what it's all about. So thank you guys for watching. We hope you had a great time seeing behind the curtain, and maybe at Christmas we'll release a special where we just show you guys all the intros for your laughter and your humor and your entertainment. And we are doing I'll go ahead and leak the beans. We are releasing a video here in 2 weeks that is basically about pure fun. We're taking the gun game from Call of Duty and we're doing it in real life. And I'm so excited about it because it's been a long time since me and the boys have just went out and had some fun. And that kind of camaraderie building activity is also massively understated in this community and in this world. So look forward to that. I will look forward to it, and I will make it, me and Nick will make it to where we love watching the video of what we did. So we hope you guys enjoyed as well. As always, thank you to our Patreon subscribers. If you're not a part of Patreon, you get first and early access to all of this content. You also get first dibs to chatting with us because we have so many emails and so many DMs. We can't always get to all of them, but Patreon gets first priority because of their support to us behind the scenes. And as always, you can purchase merch or blades or slings and things like that on our site, and it makes a big difference to us as well. So thank you guys, and get out there, make a difference, not a point.